name's Rodrigo, this is Ethan, where we teach and elevate the Bible using digital media, and today we're continuing our series on how to study the Bible. We recently did a video on 3 things to keep in mind when you're reading a biblical narrative, but there is one thing that we left out because we thought that it deserved its own video, and that is the topic of action. In any story, the way the character is built is crucial to our understanding of the story. In most of the literature that we read today, narrators are sort of the voice of the characters, often revealing their thoughts, their feelings, and their suspicions, but this is not how ancient narrators told stories. We are rarely told what characters feel and think, and the way that biblical narrators build their characters is through their actions. A perfect example of this is King Saul. We meet Saul in 1 Samuel 9 as he's looking for his father's donkeys. Through a series of events, he meets the prophet Samuel, who's been charged with crowning the first king of Israel. When Samuel meets Saul, he tells him that he's going to be king and tells him to follow a series of instructions, which Saul does. But when Saul goes back home, a portrait begins to be painted as to who Saul really is. 1 Samuel 10:14-16 tells us, "Now Saul's uncle asked him and his servant, 'Where have you been?' 'Looking for the donkeys,' he said. 'But when we saw they were not to be found, we went to Samuel.' Saul's uncle said, 'Tell me what Samuel said to you.' Saul replied, 'He assured us that the donkeys had been found.' But he did not tell his uncle what Samuel had said about the kingship." Now you may think that Saul's silence may not be a big deal, but a pattern begins to emerge when on the day of his coronation, he is nowhere to be found. It is actually God who needs to tell Samuel that he's hiding amongst the supplies. A little later on, after his coronation, the Ammonites invade Israel, and Saul gathers the army, which seems to be an overwhelming force, and they rout the Ammonites. In 1 Samuel 13, however, now the Philistines invade Israel, and they seem to be the ones with the upper hand. Saul once more gathers the Israelite army and sends part of it to fight the Philistines, but they're so strong that instead of fighting, the Israelites flee and hide in the wilderness. Saul was not even at the site of the battle because he was hiding in a cave with the rest of his men. Again, we begin to see that Saul has an issue with fear. As a matter of fact, in this particular confrontation, it's not even Saul who becomes an instrument towards victory, but his son Jonathan. In a passage that is well known, Jonathan takes his armor bearer, and they two by themselves rush a Philistine encampment, and they are so surprised and overwhelmed by this that they begin to flee. This emboldens the Israelite army, including Saul, and they begin to pursue the Philistines, and victory is Israel's. Saul's silence, his hiding on the day of his coronation and in battle, lay in contrast with his young son's bravery. Without ever outright saying it, the narrator of the story has shown us that Saul is a coward. A character flaw, along with other ones that will eventually cost him his crown and God's favor. Learning how to spot things like the action are extremely important because those are the tools that the narrator uses to build characters and in turn, the story. When we started this series on how to study the Bible, this is exactly the kind of thing that we wanted to teach because they actually make our Bible reading deeper and more enjoyable. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and the other videos in our series and the videos that are to come. If you haven't seen our other videos, we're going to leave links below. And please, if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and more than anything, please share our content. And we thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.